Hey there, curious minds! Welcome back to School Subjects Online, where we explore the most fascinating what-if questions. Today we're asking a timely question. What if clocks and watches had never been invented? How would people measure time? Let's travel through history and find out. First up, let's talk about the OG timekeeper, the sundial. Picture this. It's a bright sunny day. You've got this big flat stone, and sticking out from the center is a long, thin rod called a gnomon. As the sun moves across the sky, the gnomon casts a shadow. The ancient Egyptians, Greeks, and Romans marked lines on the stone to indicate different times of the day based on the shadow's position. Pretty clever, huh? But here's the catch. Sundials had some serious limitations. They were useless at night and during cloudy weather. Plus, sundials were big and bulky, not exactly portable. Despite their limitations, sundials were crucial for agriculture, religious ceremonies, and planning battles. So, next time you see a sundial, take a moment to appreciate the ingenuity of our ancestors. Alright, so we've covered the sundial. But what about when the sun wasn't cooperating? Enter the water clock. Imagine this. Two containers, one above the other. The top container is filled with water, and a small hole allows the water to slowly drip down into the lower container. Markings on the lower container indicate the passage of time based on the water level. Water clocks, or clepsydra, were surprisingly accurate and used in ancient Greece, Rome, China, and medieval Europe. They were also employed in courts of law to ensure speakers were allotted equal time. Of course, water clocks weren't perfect. They required regular maintenance as the hole could get clogged, and the water flow needed careful regulation. Temperature changes could affect the water's viscosity, altering the flow rate. But hey, nobody's perfect, right? Water clocks were a significant step forward in the quest for accurate timekeeping. Now let's talk about a timekeeping device that's both elegant and mesmerizing, the hourglass. You've definitely seen one, even if it was just in a pirate movie or a board game. The hourglass operates on a simple yet fascinating principle. A carefully measured amount of fine sand is placed in the top bulb. As gravity does its thing, the sand flows through the narrow opening at a remarkably consistent rate. Once all the sand has flowed to the bottom, you simply flip the hourglass over, and voila, you're back in business. Hourglasses popped up in different parts of the world throughout history. They were a hot commodity in Europe by the 14th century, especially for sailors who relied on them for navigation and timing maneuvers at sea. Unlike sundials and water clocks, hourglasses were incredibly portable. But like all good things, hourglasses had their limitations. They could only measure specific intervals of time, depending on the amount of sand they held. Now imagine a world without any fancy timekeeping devices at all. No sundials, no water clocks, no hourglasses, just you and the natural world. The most obvious and reliable timekeeper was, of course, the sun. As the sun rose, it signaled the start of a new day, a time for work, for tending crops, for hunting and gathering. As the sun began its descent, it was time to return home, to prepare for the coming darkness. The moon, with its ever-changing phases, acted as a natural calendar, its cycle marking the passing months. Ancient civilizations used the constellations to navigate, track the seasons, and even predict the future. Living by nature's clock meant being acutely aware of your surroundings. Okay, so we've established that people in a world without clocks and watches would rely on sundials, water clocks, hourglasses, and the rhythms of nature to get a sense of time. But what about their daily schedules? Would their lives be a chaotic free-for-all with no concept of punctuality? Well, it wouldn't exactly be chaos, but things would definitely be a lot more relaxed. Imagine a world where meetings started when everyone arrived, where school bells were replaced by the teacher simply calling out, "All right, time to learn!" The concept of being on time would have a whole different meaning. Instead of stressing over every minute, people would be more likely to operate on event time. This more relaxed approach to time might sound appealing, but it did come with its own set of challenges. Now let's venture into the realm of what if, and imagine how a world without clocks and watches would handle some of the things we take for granted today. First up, travel. Imagine trying to catch a train or a plane without knowing the exact departure time. You'd basically have to rely on word of mouth or vague estimates. Long-distance communication would also be a whole different ballgame. Forget about scheduling a Zoom meeting with someone across the globe. And what about sporting events? Can you imagine a basketball game without a shot clock or a soccer match without a stopwatch? Of course, humans are incredibly adaptable creatures. We'd probably find ways to make it work. But one thing's for sure, a world without clocks and watches would require a major shift in perspective. So, there you have it, curious minds. We've journeyed back in time and explored a world without clocks and watches. We've seen how people relied on sundials, water clocks, hourglasses, and the rhythms of nature to track the passage of time. And we've pondered how a life without precise timekeeping would impact everything from our daily schedules to our ability to travel and communicate. Perhaps we'd be more in tune with nature, more relaxed and less bound by the constraints of time. Or maybe we'd be constantly late, perpetually confused, and longing for the sweet, sweet certainty of a digital clock. Thanks for exploring this timely question with us. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to School Subjects Online for more fun and thought-provoking topics. Stay curious, and we'll see you next time.